YouTube, we're here. It's cold. We're gonna make this flight fairly quick so we don't die because it's like 0 degrees. Got the NX6. We're set up with the 50C Gen 2 6000 in this Focke-Wulf 190A from Horizon Hobby e-flite. We're gonna go down to this end of the runway because there's just a real light breeze coming that way, and we'll start right away. Okay, so I've got the takeoff flaps engaged. I'm way down there just so we got room to take off in case there's problems. Throttle cuts off, here we go. Oh, that was easy, guys. Look how quick it got off the ground. Out of the flaps. Gorgeous retracts. Are you kidding me how gorgeous those things are? A little bit of rudder on that turn. Oh man, that looks so good.
I can't see anything to focus.
Wow, this thing flies on rails and we've got wind. It's light, but we do have wind. Takeoff flaps coming down. Boy, this thing is flying great. We got wind coming right at our face. Man, that thing has just a little bit more balloon here. I'm having to hold the elevator down with the takeoff flaps. So evidently 8 was not enough as per the manual. Out of the takeoff flaps, gonna see if it flattens out, and then it does a little bit. I might just need a little teeny trim. We're on a 5,000, excuse me, we're on a 6S 5000 50C. That thing is really gorgeous. Look at that thing, about 30% throttle there under the power lines pass, just to show you the confidence we've got in this thing. Give myself three clicks of trim. Sorry about the talking. It's so cold I can barely get words out properly. But yet this FW190 is doing just fine. That is 100% throttle, no problems at all, plenty of power. A little bit of rudder here to help it around, keep that nose pointed at the ground so it doesn't stall. Full speed pass coming. Whoa, buddy. That thing flies really good, but it's big, and I just want to respect its size. 3-minute flight timer is all that's dialed in. We have full telemetry on this thing, and it is gonna, okay, full landing flaps. Let's see how it slows down. Oh man, I need even more elevator here. That's crazy. Those little dinky flaps are effective. 2-second deployment speed. Feel like I got a little bit of rudder action. Could be the tailwind. Give myself about 3 clicks of trim over there. All right, I'm kind of curious what safe looks like. Okay, so here's safe. Okay, 50% throttle. Okay, so just giving it a turn so it'll come toward us. Takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Wow, that is quite the balloon even with safe on. Pushing the nose down. Wow, out of the flaps. Man, that thing is gorgeous. I hope we aren't getting out of focus because of the cloud cover.
Terrible.
Oh my goodness, we're out of time. Are you kidding?
Probably.
3 minutes flies when you're having a good time. It is so cold out here, guys.
Yeah, it's -4.
It's -4, that's all. That's how you know we're dedicated reviewers. We film a -4, so. Okay, out of safe. Boy, safe does really do a good job. Okay, we're gonna try to land it down the runway. Takeoff flaps coming in so I can adjust. I do not want a balloon when I'm going under those power lines. In fact, we're gonna try to shoot it from over the power lines. I have been very nice to this pack, so I think we're gonna be good. Gear take a while to come out, so be ahead of schedule on that, okay? Full landing flaps coming out. A little bit of throttle to keep the power in. No warnings from the transmitters. This will probably be a practice unless it's perfect. Boy, that looks really good. 3-point it. Oh, yes! Right on the runway, guys. Throttle cut is on. Nothing like the P51 for landings. Guys, that's what I wanted to find out because I felt like the P51 was squirrely as all get out. Beautiful retract tail wheel. But you know what? When you're trying to put it down and get it in a tight spot like this with 2 to 3 foot berms on either side that are formed of ice glaciers from the beginning of time 10 million years ago. Wait, I mean, it might have been 3 weeks ago, but still, it feels like it's been that long. This thing is beautiful. It flies great. It's not dead calm. It looks calm because there's no foliage to blow around, but look how gorgeous this thing is. That was not hard to fly. Throttle cut is on and tested, by the way, folks. Oh man, the drop tank, it does make it kind of a pain to pick up, but look how beautiful this thing is. And then if you haven't seen this, stick around for the unbox. There's like an EDF on the spinner. Guys, I want to stick around and do like 3 more flights. I have a 7000 in my pocket, but I'm literally going to die if I keep filming. Yes. And my camera crew is going to murder me if I don't die. So we're done. Yep. Stick around for the build. Okay, so Brian Phillips here. No camera crew because we're late for where we're going. Click. Went down the flap system. I changed 8 to 15 and I changed 15 to 30. Now, my only concern about that is it isn't impossible that that is actually backward and that this plane was ballooning because of the correction. That correction could actually need to be backward. It's very uncommon that that happens, but I've had a couple of planes that are a little weird like that. So on the 5000 Gen 2 50C pack, we had no issues with CG that we could tell. It flew pretty good. Maybe could go forward just a hair, but otherwise this is the only changes we made. So when we go back to do our second flight, which is going to entail more than likely the Gen 2 7000 30C, and then we might also try the 30C Gen 2 5000, all 6S of course. But boy, that thing is beautiful and it flew good and it held up really good to the extreme cold. Just to give you an idea how cold it is, look at this. We've got a snow chunk in here. And that's not just a chunk. That's like a little glacial chunk. So this has been frozen since the beginning of time. Look at that. And now it's finally gonna melt in my house. All right, YouTube, so we're gonna go over one other thing I forgot to mention in the last video. I wanted to change my expo on just the elevator. Everything else felt pretty solid, but on the top setting I had 10, now I've got 15. On the middle, the setting I fly with, I went to 35 from 25. And on the top setting, I kicked it up another 5 to 50. I never actually made it out of this mode, but I want to still kind of have, and I want to still kind of double. But if I double, it gets outside of the area where AS3X starts getting impacted, and it can start acting kind of funny if you go over 50. Anyway, so the other thing too is we flew on the 50C, which is charging. It's almost charged now. So this is the other one I wanted to test. Depending on how the weather treats us, we may test that. I'm going to go to the 7000. 30C Gen 2 pack. Of course, there's no leads on that. No balance leads, just a smart connector on the IC5. And then this is where I'm putting it on the tray so that the front face of the battery is right here. I felt like centered with the 5000, we might have been just a touch toward tail heavy versus nose heavy. It was a little bit more touchy than I wanted on the elevator. Hence the additional expo and then hence the slight forward adjustment. So we're gonna go ahead and slide this in. That ferrite core does tend to get in the way a little bit while you're sliding your battery in. So what you have to do is you have to keep it right up at the front, and then there's this void where you can lay it, okay? So throttle cuts on, the expo's in the normal spot, everything's ready to go. Now I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in. This is the 7000. Okay. Okay, dance twice for safe. And we didn't talk about this on the last video because I didn't notice it until we were all done. I had a little bit of trouble with this kind of slipping back and forth. So I took a little bit of Dawn dish soap, liquid soap, and I slathered it onto the shaft right there, just to help that be a little bit smoother. And it seems to have helped quite a bit. It still needs a little bit of help forward. So we'll see you on the outside. Okay guys, so we're going for our second flight. I double gloved on both hands because it's extremely cold. We have a little bit of wind that's going like this, so we're not totally straight down the runway, but we are more. Show them that little flag before we start, and then show them the big flag across the way.
There's a couple big flags up here.
So then, as you can see, our windsock is putting it at about 30 to 45 degrees off from our runway. So it should be no problem. This thing got off the ground really quick. We adjusted the flaps. We adjusted a little bit of the expo on the elevator. We're in the middle setting. So if you haven't watched that, it should be between. You should have just seen it, but here goes nothing. Takeoff flaps deployed. Throttle cuts off. You want to take one step to your left there just for safety. 7,000 milliamp hour 6S. Oh, gorgeous. Out of the flaps, gear going up. 50% throttle there. A little bit of roll tendency, taking that out right now with the rudder. There was a white thing behind the plane when I went by.
There was?
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
Snow.
%50 throttle has not been exceeded this whole flight. There we go. Man, that thing sounds awesome. 100% throttle there. Rolling it over feels really good with the Expo. Big improvement. Hopefully we can see. Love the way it sounds. It is very cold to be flying outside, folks. A little bit of wind.
It warmed up 2 degrees.
The double glove is helping a lot. How are you doing with your glove?
I'll be fine.
Okay, she's a trooper. Take off flaps here. Nice and flat. Landing flaps. Man, look at that thing slow down. Out of the flaps altogether. Big old gust of wind took me up there. I want you back 5 steps to your right, please. Thank you. Quiet feet. Full throttle. There we go, guys. Okay, we'll do a roll now. A little bit subdued. We got quite a bit expo going here. I feel like it's manageable. If you want to go to your left about 10 steps, you'll get out of the wind. There you go.
I just can't really zoom.
I'm listening. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I was listening to a noise on the plane. That plane just sounds gorgeous.
Yeah, it does.
That elevator being subdued just a little teeny bit and the heavier pack in tandem, I think have really improved the flight performance here. Just a little bit more nose heavy, which is great. Okay, we're gonna go out past the trees. We still have a 3-minute timer here, folks. That's 50% throttle there. We'll come in here through this opening. Here we go, full speed. Man, that looks gorgeous. Oh man, up against the blue. Takeoff flaps deployed. Staying in the power. Oh, that is just amazing. Loving the way it's flying. 6, 5, 4. Full landing pass, dirty. This thing has the power. It has the power, guys. No warnings whatsoever yet. On voltage pack, we have full telemetry. The 7000 is gonna give us quite a bit more flight time, but I wanna still be quite conservative because I like this plane and I do not want to fly in this crap weather as the only time I've ever flown it. So we're gonna come in with takeoff flaps deployed, landing flaps coming out, gear coming out. Hopefully my camera crew is catching all this. We've got a little backdrop to keep it. Man, that thing is slowing down beautifully. I just got to get shadow over the top of the power lines. We'll chop it like it's hot. One touch and go. We're gonna try the same thing there, camera crew. You wanna come up about 4 steps. We'll kind of hit the corner of the driveway here.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah.
Full landing flap deployment. Trying for a different approach. Ooh, going around. Gear going up, guys. That was gorgeous. Camera crew, about 10 steps forward, please. Thank you, perfect. Okay, nice quiet feet so we can hear that beautiful engine. Okay, out of the flaps. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ooh, guys, that was embarrassing bounce. Man, I think we're catching the wind just at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I love trying to bring it in with the trees in the backdrop. I just hope the plane doesn't disappear. Okay, coming in again. We got about 50% throttle with the full landing flaps deployed, having to give it a little bit of throttle to keep it flying, which is perfect on this type of plane. Look at that thing slow down. Yes, so gorgeous, except for the overshoot. Guys, 50% throttle is everything I can do to keep that thing in the air. I think on our flaps, we went about 2 to 3% too much on the second setting. Oh, I'm so happy with the takeoff flaps. We're gonna show you that when we get inside, but let's go just verify we didn't get any damage there. As Horizon had mentioned, they encourage a 3-point landing, but you'll notice that those were on the mains. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If we had grass right now, that would have been a no-brainer and absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
A little bit of overrun on the runway, but we have that wind whipping in here, and we got the turbulence created from this.
Yep.
So I think what's going on is we've got this wind whipping up the hill, and it's turbulating right here. And so that's why you were seeing the corrections right in the touch and go. So it's just a sweet spot. If I could have touched down just a hair earlier, I think we would have had a gorgeous stop, ground loop at the end. You can see from the traffic, look at these paths. You can see the wheels were down. That's where the tail wheel touched down right there. So beautiful rollout, love the way it looked. The wind pushed my tracks. You can see where I touched down. This is about 13 feet wide where I touched down. And then it widens up quite a bit here. And then back here, it's narrowed down to 10 feet. So right in the middle of the runway, love the way that that thing looks. Boy, it looks good up against the snow, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's a really pretty plane.
Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous. Throttle cut is tested. And then I don't know if you guys noticed this, but if you stick around for the build, there is an EDF fan blade in there that just sucks the air through. Now I'm gonna give you a little bit of a tip. When it's this cold, your batteries will perform worse no matter what, because we are literally at or slightly below zero, right?
Yeah.
So it's very cold. In fact, it's so cold, I just wanna close out with this. This plane is beautiful. We're gonna give you just a final thoughts inside where it's warm. All right, so we're literally still warming up because it's that cold outside. We've been inside for about 30 seconds. And when you know it's cold because everything has that matte finish from fogging over, we wouldn't fly by choice in this weather, but this thing is so gorgeous. We just can't wait to bring you a video of it. That being said, I wanna talk to you about telemetry. Obviously, we're 5 minutes, 29 seconds past. Excuse the shivering. And if we go over to the telemetry, it is so cool to have all this telemetry, by the way. 3.9.
Nice.
That's good. So on a 7,000, I think we were flying for about 4 minutes on that. You can confirm by going back in the video if you'd like. But to get to 3.9 plus, you got to remember we're in extreme cold. I mean, this is like really pushing the capabilities of these batteries. The other thing too is the safe worked good. We showed the safe on the 5,000 milliamp flight. I do feel like this plane is maybe just still a little teeny bit touchy on the elevator control axis. So what I want to do is this. First of all, I want to go into dual rates and expo. And I know this sounds crazy, guys, but I'm going to go over to elevator. Now, you could kick your rates down. The problem is if you kick your rates down, when you come for landing, you might need a little bit more. So that's why I'm doing more expo. I'm going to just run this up. We'll go to 39. We'll go to 40. Because you can always pull the stick further and you still get the maximum same output, okay? But if you run your expo at 20 and you run your rates down to 90, you're never going to get the last 10% no matter what you do, okay? So I'm kicking that up to 40. And I'm gonna leave the top setting where it is. I'm gonna leave the bottom setting where it is so I can get all the way down to 15 if it's too. Like if we have a calm day and I wanna cut it back and have a little bit more responsiveness, or second option, I slide that battery even a little bit further yet forward, then we can get away with that. Now, the other thing is I wanna go into the flaps. If you guys didn't watch the little clip in the middle, I changed it from 8 to 15. And then I changed this from 15 to 30. I think I'm gonna go to 25, okay? So it's possible that we'll have just a very, 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 very minor balloon at full landing flap. I don't mind that because then that kind of gets you in for that attitude for the 3-point touchdown. Thoughts about the landing gear? Rock solid, really surprised. Look at the angle they come out. When this thing sits, you stay there and I'll put it up like this. When this thing sits down on a 3-point landing, that has to be pretty tough on everything, okay? But when it's up like this, look where everything's hitting. It's all in line. So really, once you pivot the plane, and by the way, it takes a little bit to pivot this plane, you still got tons of ground clearance. So if you're talking about flying this thing in the snow, probably not so great, but like if you're on grass, you could have some pretty tall grass and still get away with taking this thing off. I love the sound it makes when it's flying. It's subtle, but you can hear it. And it almost sounds like turbos spooling up or something. It's just gorgeous. I love the sound. Also, these wings do come off, and I want to show you one thing. Now, this might have been from the bouncy wounds at the end. Camera crew, if you want to come over here and show them this right here. See this gap? We might not have, oh, I still have my flaps deployed. I'm going to undeploy my flaps because I have to grab the wing. So the flaps are now collapsed. Watch this. That's a little disconcerting. But watch this, guys. You want to take this in the car? Look how hard it is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. And I didn't even crash it to do that. So that was easy to do, and it's easy to redo. Let's see how hard it is. Guys, Horizon is just doing a great job on a lot of these models. By the way, always do a control surface test every time you take something off like that. And look at that, just gorgeous. Very powerful, very controllable. Is definitely not a 1.2 meter plane. It's definitely got more details than any of the 1.2 meter Warbirds. This definitely is every bit as beautiful as the P-51. I like the P-51 plane better in terms of full-scale planes, but I like the way that this one flies slightly better. It edges out the P-51 to me. That being said, the flight envelope on the P-51 may be slightly wider, in my opinion. Now, that's just the times we've flown and all that good stuff. Also, keeping in mind that the P-51 needs a heck of a lot more room to roll out. I mean, like, it needs about 3.5 miles to roll out. No, it's not quite that bad. But this thing, you can put that down. Our first landing, we looked at the footage, and when we touched down where our approach is, it's 37 feet wide. And we touched down just in front of it, and we rolled just past it. That is incredibly good. So with all things considered, that's like a 40-foot rollout, and we did a ground loop at the end. So if it was just a straight rollout, I mean, 50 feet for sure, you could get it. You could get it almost stopped in 50 feet. If you're on grass, you could put this thing down, you know, practically at your feet, but I would not recommend it because this thing is powerful and it's pretty heavy. It does not fly heavy, by the way. It flies really good. It's well balanced. I don't feel like we're flying it well because it's just got AS3X. I feel like it's just a good flying plane, and the AS3X just locks it in. So unlike some of the competitive brands that we've recently reviewed that have surprisingly done really good on the channel, which drives me nuts, this thing flies really good. It's a good plane. It's spendy, but it's good. And it takes all the guesswork out. And it takes the 4.5 or 5 hours of punishment out. And you just open the box and you follow the very simple instructions, and then you fly it, and it's gorgeous. Yep. Okay. We did a couple of adjustments here. If you mimic my adjustments, you're gonna have a good experience. And by the way, bottom of the line card, this isn't even like the Primero controller. It is new, has all the bells and whistles. It has everything you need to do this performance plane, okay? This is the bottom of the line card, okay? Just imagine what it's gonna be when we get into the top of the line card. It's gonna be awesome. So anyway, guys, super impressed. Obviously, we could probably push a 4.5 to 5 minute flight on 7,000 if the weather was warmer. Now, the other thing too is you can go into your audio events in the function list and you can set a warning instead of going by the 3-minute timer. And that's really nice because if you're just doing a lot of aerobatics and you know, you're just burning through battery, or maybe you're doing a bunch of high-speed passes, or alternatively, you're flying through a 20-mile-an-hour headwind, which this thing would do no problem. In fact, a 20-mile-an-hour headwind would be gorgeous if it's at the right spot. So loving this plane. Definitely check the link in the description. We will link to the NX6 like we always do. Of course, we're going to link to the plane. We're going to link to the 2 different batteries we flew it on. I would like to, when it's warmer, get into the Gen 2 5030C, just so you guys can kind of give it a comparison. I don't feel like you need the extra, you know, 20C, but we just happen to use that because the pack is a little bit heavier, and I wanted to see if it would fit well. And by the way, I want to show you that one other thing too. The Gen 2 pack charged in probably 10 minutes. See how it's narrower this way? I would not recommend sticking it into the tray this way. If you're going to do it, I would just do it vertical like this or vertical like that, because then it mimics the shape and size of the 7000. And then you're not going to go out wide and have those trays catch. Because once you catch those trays you're gonna break the tabs off and then it won't lock in place and it'll be really frustrating. So that being said, so far, really happy with this. About the biggest problem I have with this Gen 2 is that they put the battery label on backward from what I can tell, because if you look at, this one has, that's the only thing I don't like about this pack. The only other thing I'm not crazy about is that they are quite a bit more expensive. And I don't have any planes that are of the echelon that call for this type of battery that require the balance plug unless I had a Guniac afterburner. In which case I'd be like, it's gonna get a little challenging. But that being said, love the plane, it's gorgeous. If you guys are even remotely interested in this, pre-order the thing. Hopefully by the time you're seeing this video, they're back in stock. If it's back ordered, hey, that's another thing I need to talk to you guys about. If you're not in the habit of back ordering, I'm with you. But believe me, I have to wait for the planes too, just like you, okay? You know, that's why I'm reviewing this later, okay? The back orders are just a way of life right now. Until things get caught up from COVID, I wanna tell you this in the most nice way possible. We're gonna have to get over it right now together, because there's nothing we can do when the shipping lines are backed up like they've never been backed up before. There's gonna be delays, and the delays are not anything that Horizon can avoid. They're nothing that none of the major brands can avoid. So if you're wanting this thing and you wanna be in line, just order it now. Trust me, Horizon is one of the best to get planes out when they're ready, okay? So if you order this now and it says back ordered, there's a good possibility you're gonna have one in a few weeks. It's also possible that it'll take a couple of months, but that's very uncommon right now. They're getting stuff, but they're backlogged, and they always give priority to the pre-orders. And the way I understand it is you guys aren't actually paying until the order clears. So it's good for the pocketbook too. But that being said, I love this plane. It's really good. I'm a lot more comfortable flying this than I was flying the P-51. And I don't think it's just like I've gotten to be a better pilot or anything like that, because that's all been within the last, 10 months or something like that?
Yeah,
maybe
less
6
than
months.
A year for sure.
Yeah, because it was like July, wasn't it? It was warm. I know it was
hot
warm.
when we did the P-51. Yeah.
So, and by the way, when it's hot, this EDF fan is just gonna blow tons of air right out this hole on the bottom, and it's big. The hole on the bottom, did you show them the hole on the bottom?
Yeah.
It turns this entire unit into a big ducted fan, okay?
Yeah.
And not only does it sound really cool, but it is really effective for getting the air over everything. Now, the only thing too, I had a ferrite core that was really close. So if you watch the build video, I want you guys to just be careful and just look and make sure that that ferrite core is not gonna come in and engage that EDF fan blade, okay? Because if it hits, it could be kind of devastating. It could go and cause all sorts of problems. Notwithstanding damage to the beautiful cowl, which is lined in plastic here, but it could cause other problems. So just make sure that ferrite core is pushed back out of the way. Any other thoughts, camera crew, before we close it out?
It's a super cool plane. It was
very cool.
Easy to build.
Very easy
fun
to build.
Fly, fun to watch.
Yeah, it was way easy to build.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, the adjustments we had to make were fairly minor.
Yeah.
Also, if you're wanting to get the same impact we did on our elevator Expo, but maybe you don't want to use the Expo, one thing I can tell you is that right now we're on the outside hole of the elevator, okay? So right here, do you see this? We're already on the outside hole. So in the event that you decide you want to try to do a mechanical adjustment to get more precision from your elevator, and you're okay with losing some of the throw, which I'm not recommending, by the way, that Dawn dish soap worked well.
Good.
Look at the servo with me here. I'm going to show you the elevator servo. I have to actually move it to verify. Okay? See that? So what that tells us, the elevator can go in one more hole should you choose to do so, okay? I don't think you should, but if you want to try it, you can get a little bit more precision, and then you can run your expos down, or you could actually run a negative expo if you want more sensitivity at the middle of the sticks then. So I think splitting the difference between we're on the second of 4 holes, you could come into the first of 4 holes. I'm just afraid you're going to lose some of this on your landing, and you're going to need it. So a couple things to keep in mind. Love the way that this thing went together, and look how easy it is to get in and out the battery. I mean, there's just so many good things to say about this plane. And you know, I say that in the context of the fact that this is one of the more expensive planes, and that's just what you get into when you get these bigger planes that have scale details like these beautiful little fins. That is just, I just love it. And the thing just performed really good, and we're not in a good environment right now. So if it does good in a not good environment, when it's freezing cold, or when it's really hot. I guess I haven't done it in really hot. I think Jason did his video in Las Vegas. So it was hot there, I would imagine. Anyway, if it does good in those harsh environments, just think how it's gonna do when it's a beautiful 60-degree, dead calm day and you just have glorious, beautiful sunsets to fly up against with these bright lights. It's just gonna be awesome. So get your back order in today, or if they're in stock, even better, get them ordered. Fly the thing when it's cold. Enjoy the thing because it is a good plane. I'm really happy with it. Obviously still very happy with the NX6. We have zero problems with this. In the last few planes, we had a couple of different glitches early on. We've worked through them. They're actually really simple, very small glitches. I have not seen the glitches fixed on the firmware updates, Horizon, if you're listening, but they're super small and they're just like minor kind of annoying things. So come back for more, guys. This plane is awesome. You want it in your hangar. And if you have a buddy who's got the P-51, getting these things up for some aerial combat would just be phenomenal. Come back for more. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We have something new for you today. And for fear of looking like a Tony Beats outtake reel on Gold Rush, I'm gonna be very careful the way I say this. We've got the Focke-Wulf, FW190, and we're gonna unbox it right now. You've already seen the flight. Hopefully it didn't end in crying and misery.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Because Horizon recommends a 3-point landing. I typically don't do research for these things, but yeah.
We do when there's awkward pronunciation involved.
I did for this one. Anyway, so getting back to the point, oh yes, this thing is gonna be an awesome unbox, and hopefully it's gonna be an equally glorious flight and landing, particularly the latter. Oh, beautiful.
Oh, cool.
Look at that, so gorgeous.
Wait, no, there's a glare. Tip it down more. Cool.
Gorgeous plane.
Very
So guys, this plane is opposite the 1.5 meter P-51 that we did here not too long ago. Beautiful plane, definitely, definitely, what do they call this? They skill level 2. It's, you know, more than 1, less than 3,
For
whatever they are.
intermediate to experienced pilots.
Here's what I would say. I'm gonna call the 1.5 meter P-51 a 2.75. So let's just hope this one is a little easier to fly. I know some of you are sitting at home thinking, oh yeah, that's no big deal. Can I do this as a first plane? I'm just gonna look into my crystal ball. No.
I was gonna say, you may answer that for you.
But that being said, you can buy it and you can build it and you can enjoy how beautiful it is and use it to push you along in your RC endeavor. But at the same time, this thing is gonna be so gorgeous. I guarantee you're gonna try to fly it. So here's the thing. When you get into some of these bigger planes, it's so weird because you would think bigger planes are easier to fly. That's not always the case. It depends on the type of plane. So I'm just going from my past experience with the P-51. Gorgeous plane, very well put together. Definitely not a small plane. Definitely takes some real estate to land. If you're in the grass, you're golden. This thing has some really tall landing gear. So I'm excited to show you that aspect. But without further ado, we're gonna start unboxing this thing, and boy, there are some pretty components already. There are so many scaled details all over it, and I'm just looking at the bottom of the wing. Oh, this is so cool. Look at that. I don't even know what that says. I hope it doesn't say your mother is fat.
It says no step in German.
Oh, no step? Yeah, that's actually probably what it says.
Of course
wow.
it is.
So this is the wingtip on the left. I thought that was a rudder because well, maybe it is a rudder and vertical stabilizer because I saw that red thing on the vertical stabilizer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In my extensive research.
Yes. The color scheme is really cool.
Wow, that is so gorgeous. Look at all these quick disconnects.
Oh,
I love this.
Thanks, Horizon.
Wow, look at this. It's even pretty where you're not gonna see it.
I know.
Wow. The foam is super like solid feeling. This is really detailed. Look at this. They even have more notes about your mother here. Split flaps, beautiful. Big servos. They are gonna tuck totally into the wing. You won't even know they're there. I love this. That is so cool, that bomb mounter. Actually, I think that might be a drop tank for fuel. No, it's a bomb, it's a bomb. Oh yeah, that's totally gonna go here. Toolless installation, okay? I can't resist. I know we're just halfway through unboxing the second piece, but look at this, guys. Look how hard this is. That is awesome. That is like the opposite of Dynam right there.
It's my favorite.
Okay, without further ado. So that was the top of the box, guys. So I'm just gonna flip this upside down. Oh boy, I hope a bunch of stuff doesn't slip out.
Do you want to just split the box?
Oh no, you can cut the box in half.
Yeah.
There's a seam down the middle. I haven't seen one packed like this for a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh man, there's some static electricity coming off of this. Look at this, that is so weird. That is a legit like EDF thing. What is going on? That is so cool. So when this spinner spins, you are gonna pump the air. You're gonna pump it up. Look at that. That is so stinking cool. Man, I hope I don't break that thing. So I wonder if you could take the prop off and fly it like an EDF. Because that's a ducted fan then, right in the air intake. Thinking there's probably not enough thrust. Do not fold. Okay, so this is the manual. This is the FW190A 1.5 meter. Beautiful, this comes with Safe Select. It's also got the Smart ESC, which is super cool, the Avian ESC. Oh yes, look at that. More talk of your mother here. So we have nice pinch hinges, but those have embedded hinges for sure. Yep, here's an embedded hinge. Right there's some plastic. See that? So there is an embedded hinge, okay? So that's really good. And some foam to protect the foam from the foam, that's always good. That's the only place you see that is on Horizon models at this point. Okay, oh yeah, that's gorgeous. My camera crew is cleaning the flecks of foam off of me. That is a really, that's a narrow cord on tail feathers. That's interesting. So, and I'm sorry, I'm just sort of sticking things together and I shouldn't be because this is just the unbox. Beautiful props. Hopefully not in the FMS fashion. We won't have to be redoing the prop like our last one. F4U Corsair. How big was that? 1.7 meter. Big.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yep.
It was huge. Biggest one ever in the 1.7 meter class. That is one beautiful drop tank. I believe it's a drop tank. I don't think this is a bomb. Man, that is gorgeous. I love the way that looks. This is like this is just gonna make it look so cool. And I don't think it's gonna rip off like other downward hanging things. Okay, we got a bag of doohickeys and screws. There's an antenna in there too, which is pretty cool. Spinner assembly, mounting plate for the blades. Ooh, those look like guns, maybe. Yeah, guns. So we'll just set those aside. The other wingtip, these LEDs are gorgeous. I haven't pointed that out yet. Look at this. That is so phenomenally.
Wow.
Those are big LEDs too. And when I was watching on Horizon's video, they were very bright. Now that being said, you're probably not going to see a dark flight from me in this plane because my runway is a little bit narrower than 275 feet wide.
Right now.
Oh wow, that is so gorgeous. Man, that is such easy assembly. Okay, so 1.5 meters. I'm 6 foot tall. That's pretty good size, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's exciting. This thing is like half built already. I love it.
Me too.
All right, we have a carbon fiber spar here. This one is pretty thin. Obviously, this one is for the tail feathers. So it's gonna go through like this, just like that. And then when this goes to the fuse, then they will meet up like so.
This is not the build.
I'm sorry, it's just too easy. Oh my goodness. Wow, I just got tased. Did you hear the
I heard it.
explosion? Oh wow, look at that monster. They have a ferrite core in here
Oh my goodness.
to eliminate RF from getting back through the circuit. That is a beautiful motor. I'm trying to point it down for you. Can you get an angle on that at all, or am I gonna have to read it?
You're probably gonna have to read it.
SPMX AM1000. It's a 4258 460 kV. You could have told me that.
I mean, I knew. I just thought you should read it.
Yeah, that is so gorgeous. Give them a close-up of all this. Very gorgeous decals. Something about ducks. This is gorgeous. Look at that exhaust. Obviously, we don't have the wrong symbols here. That's convenient. Wow, there's a hook point on the top. That is so cool.
Static, crazy static.
Okay, and then we have the pilot. We have the jet pilot. Oh, wow. Show them the canopy. We have a head-up display glass.
Wait. Hold on.
Look at the head-up display glass. Do you see that thing?
Yeah.
That is so cool. I think it's supposed to be sticking up a little bit more vertical, but that's fine. I'll go with it. Show them this.
Yeah.
That is so gorgeous. I probably could also take this and collapse this. Okay, we're gonna lay this down. It's kind of weird on this plane. There's only one decal like this. The squadron marker. There's not one on this side. That's a little strange. I'm assuming obviously that's gonna be a scale detail. Now let's show them inside the canopy. I love the way that this looks. This is so gorgeous, this back. You know what that is, camera crew?
What?
That's a big old piece of lead, or not lead, but steel probably, so that if a pilot gets shot like this, then they won't get killed quite as easy.
Quite as easy.
Well, I mean, they're in an airplane. Airplanes are light. A big old ferrite core on the smart plug.
That's a big compartment.
Yeah, I know. That's what she said. Now there's also this battery tray. That's huge too. I'm loving it. You can put a 3200 through 7000. Show them the motor mount down there. That is so cool. Look at that thing. Man, this stuff is getting so much more. Like, look how clean it is in here. There's just like, you would think there'd be an explosion of wiring, and there's just really not.
Yeah.
What? Oh, well, that's so, oh man.
Oh, I
hate when those things rip
fall
off.
off.
Every single time I do a plane, it's just,
Man.
I mean, I don't want to cut my hand, guys, either. So I think the lawyers at Horizon are saying, yeah, keep that intact, please. Please. Okay, cool. Now, on the bottom of this box, camera crew, is there anything else?
There is nothing.
Okay, so we're down to the bottom. All right, we're gonna pause and come right back with the build. All right, folks, so we're done with the unbox on the plane, and now we're just gonna unbox this brand new G2 7,000 milliamp 6S 30C pack. I cut the Spectrum thing off camera, sorry. So these things come packaged really nice. This is my Gen 1 version, so I'm just gonna show you the difference between the two. Really well packaged. They always have tons of foam in them. This thing was in its own box when it was shipped. And that's probably because of the capacity of the LiPo, not because Horizon just really, really wants to do a good job. It's probably, they probably can't do a whole lot more. There are limits on how much you can send in one package. Okay, so comes with that little foam to protect the finish. Okay, requires Spectrum Smart Charger, okay? So just keep in mind, if you have the Gen 1, they are really close in size in all the dimensions, okay? It looks like the Gen 2 one, I would say if anything, it's the exact same size, okay? So the only thing that's different is you're missing the balance lead, so it's one less thing to kind of mess around with. Same exact connectors, all that good stuff. You'll notice that this connector is actually backward from that connector. Not that it makes a big difference, because you can obviously flip this over if you need to, but I just point that out because I did notice that on some of the Gen 2, now this is a 7000, so this is like the top of the size class you can run. So let's go ahead and get these plugged in on the new Gen 2 charger. You'll notice that there's a huge void where all those batteries sit. I love the power switch. I love the power switch. That is so awesome. See, it's got a toggle rocker switch. One of my favorite features on this. Now let's show them another of the favorite features. We'll turn the flash on and see if that helps a little bit with exposure. The exposure is horrific when you're filming these things. Okay, so we've got an IC5. Okay, so we did that up.
Yeah.
And this is my Gen 1. And then watch this. Guys, this is just how nice it is. Okay? Now you may have to shut that off again. Okay, so you can see that's our brand new one here on the right. And then on the left, we're gonna press this and we're just gonna look, it's gonna start at 7. So there we go. There's no balance lead, that's why I didn't auto start. So if you want it to auto start, I'm just gonna actually cancel. I'll show you how to do this. Okay, so on channel 1, you have to plug that in. Okay, then you have to also plug in the balance lead to have it auto start. Okay, initiating smart charge. You can tell we're on channel 1. Okay, so it's charging. Now let's switch over to channel 2 and let's look, it's charging at 7 amps. Very good. We got 83 and there's 39 minutes left on that. And it's still calculating the time on this one. So we'll give that just a second longer and see if it gives us a time. It should here pretty quick. The thing that's cool about this is you can take and you can charge those. Let's just go back to 1 generation older charger. So we'll turn on the Spectrum power supply. I'm gonna go ahead and cancel the charge sequence.
Your minutes just popped up there too when you.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
What was it saying?
38.
So 38 minutes.
Yep.
So it's about the same speed. Okay. So then this is one of the only biggest disadvantages is we have an IC3 connection here on the side of the old S1500. And when I say old, guys, I'm saying old like last year.
Yeah.
And when I say old, I updated the firmware, which we have a video to show you exactly how to do that. There is a cable you have to buy. It's like 11 bucks or 10 bucks or something. It's reasonably inexpensive, but you do have to have it. It doesn't come with a cable. That's something you'll just have to take up with Verizon, but plug that in. And you can actually start this without the balance lead, but I'm just gonna go ahead and plug it in because I like doing that. Okay, so now that's plugged in. I like to relax all the cables so that there's nothing that's gonna be bound up, that it's not gonna yank or put pressure on any of these connections internally. And there you have it. And it's gonna show you the full suite of all the information that you have on the Gen 2 charger. The reason I overview that again is just a refresher course for you folks that have the older style. You've got a much simpler display if you haven't updated the firmware. It's not a big deal. You can still do all the functions, but to have the auto start with the new Gen 2 packs, you'll have to update the firmware. Again, it's a pretty modest investment if you have a handful of those chargers, like 11 bucks. So that being said, these are the other batteries that we have to charge and get ready for this plane. This is the Gen 2 5030, the Gen 2 5050. Look at the difference in size. This one is longer and skinnier, and this one's shorter and fatter, okay? So I bring that to your attention because also I want you to see the way that this label's on here doesn't really impact the way that you would stick it into the plane, but I want you to be aware that these batteries do not have exact dimensional sizes. So you need to be looking at that when you're making your purchase decisions. Now, I'm not trying to talk you into Gen 2 over Gen 1. I know Verizon would like me to do that, but I'm not going to. They're both very good. They're both very good. If you need the balance lead, you can only get the Gen 1, okay? So if you're using a non-smart charger, get the Gen 1 for the moment. When you have a chance to upgrade to the Gen 2 style charger, that would be a good time to go ahead and jump into the Gen 2 packs when you see fit. I haven't noticed a big difference, but I know that they're coming out with some 100C packs. If you fly helis, you're gonna experience more issues with batteries, even the best quality batteries with puffing and things like that. We just don't see that a lot with our normal planes. EDF jets, yes, a little bit. So that being said, we have had an infinitely better luck with these smart batteries than we have with any other battery reviews in the past. I think out of this entire batch, and I'm talking like, that's a lot of batteries. We've had one 4,000 milliamp hour pack that has given us just a little teeny bit of bulge. And I mean, that's it. And I think that one was the one that we used incidentally in the F-18, and we just pushed it hard, like full throttle for the whole flight for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyway, that being said, these are the batteries. I just wanted to show you there is quite a difference in size on the 5000s. So you need to keep that in mind. Look at the difference in height, okay? So the 50 and 100Cs, okay? Difference in height compared to the 30Cs. Same thing here. The Gen 2 50C is about like the 50C on the Gen 1, okay? So just keep those things in mind. We'll go ahead and charge yours as we're building. And we also have, we might as well go ahead and throw one of these, probably the 50C. We'll throw that on the new charger and just let that run. It's pretty intense process of charging.
I know, I can't even focus by the time it's charging.
Yeah, it's already going.
Yep.
Isn't that awesome?
Sweet.
And this one has 65% already in it. So that being said, guys, we're gonna jump straight into the build, and we'll actually come right back for that. Okay, so one more really quick detail. I forgot to kind of show this. This is a Gen 2 pack. This is the 30C Gen 2 5006S. Not that it matters between the 50C and the 30C. It doesn't make a difference on the way you charge them, but I just want to show you how this works, okay? So I got my adapter on here, and I'm just gonna reach it straight up to the balance, or to the plug. Look at that. It's done. It's working. Isn't that awesome? So it's basically gonna do it, and it's gonna do it just like any of the other chargers will. There it goes. So now it's got the charge, it's got the charging capacity, and it's got the time left. So you can see this one here in particular has lost a lot less of its charge rate. So there it's building up its charge rate, and it's gonna give us the time eventually. Now, just so you guys know, this is using a 30 amp power supply. I think they sell a 10 amp power supply. You can actually provide your own power supply, or you can bring another battery in here. It doesn't even have to be a smart pack. So you can use one of your old, Turnigy 10,000, milliamp hour packs that you had from a drone years ago, and you can charge your brand new Gen 2, Spectrum batteries. It's just crazy the way that this technology works. It's very cool. So, by the way, sorry about the saturation. It's extremely hard to get those things to work. Anyway, we'll come right back with the build. YouTube, Brian Phillips coming from a Facebook data center. Oh no, wait, that's just a million batteries charging. I just wanted to explain what that noise was you heard in the background. It's not the dishwasher, it's all these chargers. They all have cooling fans, and they can be a little bit noisy when you got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 of which are dual channels. And they're all charging 6S packs. So if I didn't mention earlier in the battery part, we're gonna use the NX6 for this planing. You're like, but Brian, that's only 6 channels. It says right there. No, it's not. It's 7, okay? But don't worry, don't worry. The NX8 and the NX10 are coming into stock, so you can pretty much buy those now if you want. Check the links in the description below. We will be using the NX8 very shortly. The NX6 has been glorious to use, and we will probably continue to use it, but the NX8 is coming. So I don't think I'm gonna go up to the 10 yet, but maybe someday. Okay, so we are gonna build this thing, and it looks really simple. We basically have one sack of screws here. There's quite a few screws, but 4 of those go into the bottom wing, and they gave us 1 extra. And then the rest are used for the horizontal stabilizer. And then we have to build the prop too, which takes a total of 6 screws. So camera crew, you've reviewed the instruction manuals because you know how to do those things like reading.
Yes, that's my job. That's why I'm here.
How did they recommend a certain order, or should we just jump straight into building the prop?
You don't usually follow the order, but it's supposed to be tail first.
The tail first?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
the
build
prop.
the spinner.
Okay.
Let's build the spinner because I'm most excited about the spinner. That thing looks so cool. It's killing me to know.
Pesky tails.
And by the way, if you guys are looking at all these antennas and pitot tubes and things, they are screw-on style, which is super nice.
Yeah.
For those of you that transport these things, makes it a lot easier. And then the reason that you have this doohickey here, that's actually a cover for the mount. So when you're not using the drop tank, which we are going to use the drop tank probably on this plane. When I store my planes, I've done a review of how we store our planes, but typically when I store planes, I either have them on the wall and there would be a post that comes out underneath each inboard portion of the wing somewhere, and we straddle wall, the studs on the wall, and then depending on the prop size, we can just stick it between the studs, or sometimes we have to spin them around a little bit. The bigger planes like this will usually sit on the floor for now, but we're gonna have to change that at some point because there's getting to be a lot of them. So that being said, look forward to a video about that in the near future. And when I say the near future, the last time I promised that it was like a year, so the near future might be kind of a long time. So the manuals in e-flite are really good. That's one of the reasons why I really like e-flite brand. Of course, this is a 3-bladed propeller. They show you all this stuff. If you're doing a plug and fly, this is what you can use to get all your throws set up as per the manual. They're recommending a 10% expo and a 5% expo on low rates. That's kind of weird. Seems like high rate should be, oh, they're saying 10% expo in your high rate and then 5% in your low rate. I'm gonna actually deviate from that a little bit. I'll show you what I'm gonna do. The flap mix is 8% down and 15% down. That's weird. So that must be at the takeoff flap and the landing flap, but they didn't really articulate that very clearly. Center of gravity, 15 millimeters of range. That's a pretty big range. So,
And did you notice it's from the gun mount, the inner gun mount? Not from the
leading edge.
They actually have a specific.
That's good. I like that. That's really helpful. Thank you, e-flite. You must be listening. Okay, so that being said, we're gonna jump over and skip all these important instructions and go straight to this assembly because I wanna have that done so it's out of the way. Okay, so it looks like the first thing we have to do is we have to feed this plate into this assembly here, and it is threaded. So those screws actually thread straight into this assembly here. This feels like it's aluminum. It's very light. Feel that, camera crew.
Yeah, it is. I noticed that when I took it out.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Boy, those nails are pretty, aren't they?
No, thanks.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop this in like that, okay? And then that keys in. So you can't get it wrong, okay? You see that? There's reliefs here. So just drop it in and spin it until it plops in, and then you're golden. By the way, these things are sharp as you know what, so don't get cut. All right, so looking at the screws, okay, obviously the big long ones are gonna be the ones that go on the wings, so I'm just gonna pull those aside. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And then there's some not quite as long, and then there's some even shorter ones. So we have to figure out which one's which now. Surprisingly enough, in this manual, they actually have a drawing, but look at this. It shows a scale drawing of the style of screw. Look at this. It's like, but the scale drawing isn't quite to scale. That's kind of helpful. So I'm assuming either this or this is representative of that. Now that's 16 millimeters. They're saying M316. I have the world's cheapest pair of calipers here. So if it's 16 millimeters long, then I should be able to throw this in here and see 16. I would say that's pretty darn close to 16 millimeters.
Yep. Okay.
So the 16 millimeters are the ones I need for this.
So that means the little shorties are for the tail, because you need 2.
That's right. Very good.
So that would make sense.
Okay, so I'm gonna just pick those ones up and get them out of the way. Put them on my screw and nut sack. Okay, so we've got 3 props. The props are gonna go like this, not like that.
Wait, hold on, do that again.
It's gonna go like this, not like that.
Yep.
You want the angle of the prop to be the same as the cooling fan / EDF. Okay, that is really cool, by the way. Just totally cool. These are 2 millimeters. Okay, thank you, Tom, for the drivers. These things have been literal lifesavers. So many people have been saved that I can't even list off how many people have been saved. Okay, so that was only like 150,000 times easier than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Because the last time I did this, it was for an FMS model, and I did it, what, 3 times?
Yes.
Yep. By the way, that plane is sweet and huge.
Yep.
And like if you don't have a master bedroom sized storage area.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Master bed, well.
We're a little slow.
Yeah, master bed. What am I trying to say? That's a king size bed.
That's a king size bed.
You could probably put on a queen.
Yeah.
That thing is so huge. Now, why do I know it fits in the bed?
Because that's how much you love your planes.
No.
They sleep in our bed.
That's how much I love my wonderful camera crew, because her family was coming over and she's stricken my plane to the master bedroom.
Because we have to eat dinner here.
Hey, listen. You tell me you can't put a slice of pizza on a wing on a 1.5.
Do you want a slice of pizza on your wing?
No.
Yeah. See, that table has planes on it. This island currently has planes on it. One table has to be free for eating.
We only have like 1,000 square feet of this house filled up with planes, okay? Just that. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so we're up to number 6 here. What I've done is I tighten them at the end. I just bring them down to, I'm gonna call it finger tight, and then I torque them at the end to just really lock them in. Do not use Loctite on this, guys. You will regret it. I give you a 100% guarantee. If you insist on using Loctite, use a glue or something down here, okay? Don't use it on the shaft and then slide it through, because the solvent that suspends Loctite is reactive with plastic, and it will weaken the plastic. It won't happen overnight. It'll happen in like 2 or 3 days. And then next thing you know, you'll be spinning and then it's gonna go like that. And you'll be like, ah, my shoulder, or whatever. And well, I mean, it might not be that exciting, but you'll have a prop blow up. So it's happened to me more than once. That is gorgeous. Look at that. Oh, that is so cool that they have that little EDF thing in there. I am loving it. Okay, cool. So obviously that doesn't go on there just quite yet, because we need to take the assembly off of the nose and mount the prop. We're gonna watch out for the kitchen sink. Most people don't have that problem while building radio controlled airplanes, but I have that privilege and honor. Okay, we have
I put a sink in our kitchen.
That's right, I know. It's really annoying. Don't we have a faucet outside? Did we really need one
in the basement. I mean, I could go down there, I guess.
We added that because of this stuff.
And it's super nice.
It is. Okay, so this is keyed. It has a hex shape to it, which goes onto this motor mount. Beautiful, heavy duty motor mount. Man, this is gonna be so cool. Oh, that is kind of scary. Do you see that ferrite? You see that ferrite core, how close that gets to the EDF? Yeah, I'm gonna be doing a little something with that, because that made me very nervous just seeing how, you see how that moves? See how that moves? Can you imagine, do you think that that might be strong enough when striking that at 457,000 RPMs? That sounds so cool. And that is gonna blow this plane amazingly. I mean, really, look at that. That is so cool. I'm loving that. That is the next new thing. Trendsetters you are at e-flite. Okay, I really want that ferrite core down, and I'm a little bit tempted to just take it off, because I do not want that ferrite core.
But it looks like it had glue on it, because there was like a little chunk of something.
You know what I think it is yeah, that maybe it was. Maybe it, no.
Was it came loose?
I'm not sure. I think it, that's a good question. We'll have to leave that one to the history books.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, if there's someone, see, I don't want it to spin. I don't want it to hit the motor.
Right.
And I don't want it to hit this, but I'm honestly not sure if it will. It's close, but no cigar, right? That's just close. Look at this, guys. I'm gonna stick this in here because it's black on black.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna turn the flash on and see.
Do you guys see that?
Much better.
You see how close we are? I would say that we're that far. So we're 3/8 of an inch from hitting. I mean, that's a pretty long ways. Can it even come forward? I don't think so. I'm gonna be the cautionary tale for these people.
Okay.
Okay? I'm gonna be the guinea pig, the ginny pig.
What?
I was just reading it phonetically. Ginny pig. Spelling and words are not my strong suit.
We know, it's okay.
Okay, so I'm hanging on to this and I'm torquing that, okay?
Man.
So every once in a while, you know, like every once in a while when I'm building a Dynam plane, I have props come off like every other plane. But, you know, it's like, you know, I've built hundreds of planes, and it's weird because, you know, the props don't come off of the other 100 planes that often. I mean, occasionally they do. I'm not above making a mistake. I've done it that one time, remember?
Just that one time?
Just, yeah.
Today or?
Well, But what I'm saying is, it's not really that hard to torque these things down. I do kind of have the grip, death grip problem, okay? Let's show the people at home. We've got a down angle, that's down, so it's pointed down, and this thing has tremendous amount of torque. Oh yeah, that's pulled way over to the right. So that's gonna help a lot with the torque effect from this very powerful motor. Oh, that is a gorgeous fit.
That's cool.
Gorgeous. That's gonna look so cool. Hopefully there's no birds. You know, do you know why they do this?
What? The spinner?
The paint job?
Swirl?
Do you know why they do that?
I don't.
I've heard, well, now I don't know if they do it in real life today or when they built this plane because of it. Oh, we use that long screw. We use one of the long screws here.
Oh, that's the fifth one?
Yeah, that one's 32 millimeters.
Yep.
The reason they do the swirl is to discourage birds from flying into it.
Really?
Yeah.
Hypnotize the birds and then they fly away?
I don't know why hypnotizing them would make them fly away, but I heard that was a thing, a legit thing. Because they do it on like airliners and things like this, because they don't want to have like, you know, like $1 million engine get destroyed and you know, 500 people get killed.
Leave it to the Germans.
The Germans did a lot for aviation.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, you can see it's sucking the seam tight as I torque it down. Really having to kind of put some power on there. Oh yeah, that's gonna be, guys, everything just fits so nice.
That's really cool.
That is so cool. We're gonna have so much air that gets blown through this whole thing. Look how much light is going through this plane, guys. I mean,
well, canopy's off.
oh, well, yeah, I know, but the canopy's gonna be on. It's still gonna have air going through it.
Right, yeah.
That's what I'm saying is that there is gonna be so much air that makes it through this thing. Look at that hole in the back. Man, that is a big hole. Just saying. Do you know what a bunghole is?
This is not the channel.
Listen, no.
No, it's something about wine.
Well, it's
Or
on a wine barrel.
Yeah, the stopper thing, or the hole. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Just saying. There's a legit thing. All right, guys, so we've got that done. So now that we have that beautiful prop on, now we'll go back to step one. Okay, so we're gonna build a horizontal stabilizer and elevator. Should be pretty easy. I've got it half built here. I love these little red things that stick out. That is a very, very cool detail.
Yeah.
It just says here, and I quote, "Your mother is fat." I don't know why they did that. That is so awkward. Oh wait, that's another language. I don't know what it says. I will put it in Google. It probably says no step.
Yes, I'm still voting for that.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. There's probably a typo. It could be. Should I have Brian Phillips story time for a second while I'm doing this?
Go for it.
So we did, I don't know if I can tell this story.
Wait, did you put the carbon fiber spar in there?
I did.
Okay.
I put the carbon fiber spar in there.
Okay, sorry, back to story
So
time.
Brian Phillips story time. So we did this system because I work on scales. And this particular plant needed to print Japanese and Chinese text on a thermal image. So it's on a thermal printed label. And so the way that we did this is we have to store the images inside of, oh man, this is such a gorgeous assembly. I gotta pause story time for a second. Look at this, guys. Look at this. This is just amazingly beautiful. Just look at that. We got the ball joint there, and look how gorgeous that is. Now, I'm gonna be a smart feller today. Oh man, look at that LED. Look at that LED. Wow. Do you see that? Here, let's go over here. See if we can give them a really good view, get a good angle. That is gonna be so bright. It's so weird. I've always said red and green and white. Somebody was listening. I don't know if they were listening to me or history. Okay, so if you need, this is Phillips, okay? You can undo that ball and take it out. There's one single screw that goes into this, okay? So you don't have to actually set that, but what I'm waiting for is when I hook up my receiver, this will go to the neutral position and then I'll snap it on, if it's right. If it's wrong, then I'm gonna have to take and move this so that it goes in or it goes out.
So you're not gonna hook that up yet?
Yep, okay, back to story time. So we needed the Chinese and Japanese labels, and they were supposed to read like pork or chicken or something like that. It was in a packing plant, and they reboxed packages of meat. And we had to print these Japanese labels and or Chinese labels, depending on which variety they were running, because they were going to export them to China or to Japan. And the trouble is, like, we had no clue what these labels said. That was story time. I can't go any further.
I think I ever heard that story.
Yeah.
Hey, don't
What?
forget to screw your stabilizer on.
Oh, you want me to screw my stabilizer, huh?
Pesky elevators, but
Pesky elevators.
you might not want to take off while you're flying.
I like your idea. So anyway, I can't tell the rest of the story because it would be not appropriate.
So you're telling me that you printed inappropriate things on a box of meat and
I may
sent
have.
them to China?
So if you're in China now and you got a box of meat and it said like, your mother's fat or some horrible thing, I apologize for the software company we paid to do that system. Anyway, good times. Good times.
I don't think I remember that story.
That does not look like
did not
it's
go in
seated down very good. Let's give them a
not.
side view of that after we're done. Okay, now there is only one control arm that goes back here. Ooh, the beeping has already started, man. We are in it. Ooh, that one went all the way down, totally
Yeah,
down.
that was way better.
Oh yeah.
I think you should redo that other one.
You know what's kind of funny? Feels like it's spinning still. Nope, there it goes. Now I'm torquing it. Look how much I'm torquing that now. Really good fit. This side.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, I don't know what's the deal there. Now keep in mind that's just keying it, so it's preventing it from sliding out. So I honestly don't know what to tell you. If it goes in, it goes in. We could try lubricating it so we get better penetration.
Seems kind of unnecessary at this point.
Well,
See, that's better.
look how hard I'm holding this. Show them my hand that's white now because all the blood has rushed out of it. See, it's like, ow, it hurts, Brian. Do your hands talk like that?
No.
Oh, good. Get in there. What do you have against your home? Oh man, the other side was so much easier than you. I have a favorite. It's the other side.
I'm not supposed to have favorites.
I'm a realist. Everybody has favorites. Okay, so now that that's on, this has been a really hard build. We only got like 4 hours to go to catch up with our last
I
item.
know. There's gonna be a lot of story time at the end of this.
Look at how beautiful that wing is. It's gorgeous. There was a lot of foam dots on this plane.
was.
I don't know why that is. So weird. Usually Horizon, we don't have too many of those.
It's just super dry, I think.
There, it's already in. That is the mark of quality control.
That was it?
Yeah, I mean, again, it just works. Works really
Not
good.
to like cut pieces out.
We don't even need to do any surgery
get
at all.
more
I mean,
tools
where's the
that we
fun in
actually
putting a
need?
wing on and it just goes straight on?
Jeez.
And you don't have to fight it for like half an hour or maybe 3 or 4 hours, depending on the day. Oh yeah, lined up perfectly. I didn't have to do any surgical removals.
I'm so confused.
So many beeps.
I know.
Look at this. I can't tell if that, oh, I wasn't started yet. Now I am, because it's pulling it
Yep.
down. Okay, so.
Wait, do you have one? You didn't put one in. Oh, you did. I missed it. Maybe go show them all the batteries that are done while you're doing that.
No, because they love watching me screw.
That's true.
This is, well, I mean, you want to know if it's going to be hard. And based on the last few videos we've done, I want them to see how not hard this is. Yes! Start to finish, guys.
What do you want to guess on build time? What are we at?
20 minutes. And that includes screwing around on batteries?
Yeah, 21.
Oh,
Well,
no, that doesn't.
No,
Okay, so the pitot tube goes out here, right? Because it's the only one that's asymmetrical. Look at the picture. Yes. Your camera
Yes.
crew,
Yeah.
your camera crew let you down, Brian.
I'm sorry. I was.
All right, check this out. Guys, this is the mark of quality. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you about cats, okay? This is cat time. for a minute. We're gonna give
Segue.
one of my cats scratched my foot today, and all I was trying to do was vacuum it a little bit. And it hurt.
And you told me this story 3 times before you added vacuuming her at the end.
Oh, there was that detail. I left that out?
Yes.
Weird. Yeah, so after I tried to vacuum.
She heard you.
After I tried to vacuum this cat, she got fiercely annoyed. Like it was a big deal. I'm just trying to take your hair off of you. And it wasn't even a big vacuum. It was a little teeny vacuum. But I was getting sick of this hair getting everywhere. So I'm like, get over here. I'm going to try to vacuum you. And it did not work.
She's trying to get in the box.
All I'm going to say is I have a number of different airplanes that have had antennas destroyed by cats, I believe.
Yeah.
And I've also had a number of antennas broken by gravitational pull of solar systems that have...
Yes.
And props that, you know, for whatever reason, even though I tighten them to deadly levels of torque, they still manage to come off on the 2nd or 3rd flight.
The cats do chew on them a lot, though.
They like to break them off. That is gorgeous, guys. This plane is basically built. Okay, I am not even messing around. I'm just going straight in. Now, let's just show you the cover real quick. This cover, look at the attention to detail, guys. Have you ever seen a radio-controlled airplane where they're like, oh, no, we need to make a cover for that. We need to cover that because from 100 feet away, you're going to be able to tell that. Seriously?
Does it screw on? If you
No,
leave
it
the
slips
cover
on.
It just
Slips on. Slips back. But you know why else this is awesome? You know why it's awesome that they give you this? Because then you can take this thing, you could take all those little wheels you saved from millions of Banggood planes, and you could make it into some, I'm just kidding, I'm not gonna use the wheels from the Banggood.
What are you doing?
There's a reason I was gonna use them. No, you can build another bomb or something. Just look at the way that that's mounted. That is so cool. I love the way that the lines are on this thing. And every time I look at this canopy, I think, I'm so glad I didn't have to glue that thing on myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look, anti-fog vents here. So gorgeous. That is just phenomenal. Loving it. Loving it. I got a little scratch on mine. I think it's actually glue. Yep, it's just glue. That is just totally gorgeous. Man, look at that line. That is so cool.
It's cool with the guns.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so without further ado, let's flip this thing over. I do not like the ferrite cores, for the record. For what it's worth, oh, that thing is so pretty. The ferrite cores are annoying. I really hope they're necessary. I hope it's not just some stupid FCC thing, because if it is, I'm gonna take them out immediately. Look at this. I just noticed a reinforcement for the landing gear mounts. So this is the type of thing you will never, ever find on a competitive product like a Hobby King product. Sorry, I'm just gonna say Hobby King, because you just won't.
Yeah,
you'll never see it. And if you do see it, the plane's gonna be like 57 pounds and it won't fly well. That being said, I've had them all. I've had the Durafly. They look, on camera, they look just as good. And then you get them in person and you're like, maybe I shouldn't have found the love of my life with the mask on. It's like that. That is so gorgeous, guys. Look at this. That thing is just amazing. Look how tight the joint is on the wing. Look at this.
I was noticing that.
Look at this. Watch this. Watch this. Stupid ferrite core.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to show you the deflection on the wings.
Oh.
That's under high G load. You're almost never gonna have a dynamic load like that on an airplane. You almost never will. Because to go from here and accelerate to a stop like that, that's called a crash. Now you might have some dynamic loading on the wings, but not like that, where it's so, definitive in one spot like that. Mm-hmm. That is really cool. Okay, cool. So now we need to mark the CG, but I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and save that for the radio setup. And really we have one more thing that we need to do, and that is to clip in the control for the elevator. So I think that would be best reserved for when we go ahead and mark CG and initially get the radio set up. Now, obviously we have this, so we'll have that in our bag of tricks for later on. And I don't know if I've ever discussed this with you guys, but I have a box of manuals. Actually, I have three boxes of manuals. And what I do is I take the manual from this plane and other planes as I get them done. And if there's spare parts, I throw them into a bag, and then I either staple it to this, or I put this whole thing in a big bag, and then I have all those spare parts that are really handy. And then if I have ordnance packs, I put the ordnance packs in one spot, so I have all the different ordnance. And it's really nice because when you get a handful of different planes, it actually gets hard to remember which one goes with which plane. The size is very different from a 1.1 meter or 750 millimeter all the way up to like a 1.7 meter. It's huge. You'll be able to tell the difference if you only have 2 or 3, but you start getting 5 or 6 and you've got a plane with a lot of different ordnance on it. It's really easy to mess them up. So, all right, cool. That thing is beautiful, guys. We'll be right back in just a second with the radio setup. All right, YouTube, we're back. We're gonna do the radio setup on this FW190, and we're gonna use the NX6, which has been awesome so far. Like I said earlier, the NX8 and NX10 are dropping right now, so you should be able to go to the website and order, follow the links below. Obviously, with this plane, if you wanna buy it, help support the channel, that'd be much appreciated. As with the batteries, all that good stuff. We'll link to the main stuff that we do in this video, but if you can't find it, there's always like the master link for Horizon Hobby and Tower Hobbies and the Magic Home and all these different places. So you can just go to those if you don't see the exact item you're wanting in the list, and that helps support our channel. So anyway, back here, these are the 2 batteries I have that are done from our battery charging over there, Extravaganza, 7000 6S. This is a 30C. We also have a Gen 2 pack that we're gonna be able to use. This one happens to be a Gen 2 5000. My predisposition is probably gonna be to fly it lighter. I know that we can fly in the 7000, so my hope is we're gonna be able to do a Maiden with the 7000 and a Maiden with the 5000. And we're gonna prefer toward the G2 packs because it's the latest and greatest, and it's gonna give the plane the best chance at success. But that being said, I have no predisposition against using the Gen 1 packs. Gen 1 packs, as far as I'm concerned, are very, very good too. So anyway, they're also still quite expensive. All of them are. But the thing is, if you buy one Gen 1 pack or one Gen 2 pack, it's like having 2 or 3 other packs because you're gonna get longer flight times and they run so much better. That being said, jump on in. So we basically have the UMX Night Vapor pulled up here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna scroll down to system setup. We're gonna disconnect the RF, and then we're gonna go to model select, and my wife is gonna look over at the cat and find out what's going on for a second. What was that noise?
I don't know.
I've clicked add new model. I'm gonna create an acro. You should be able to create, and you can select an acro, which is an airplane. Now, how do we know it's an acro like that? Okay, let's go to the main screen. It says acro because that's what the manual states, okay? So you notice we have our XBC 100 Smart Checker hooked up to this. That'll be helpful for us a little later. We did not hook up our control on the elevator because we wanted to have the receiver hooked up. So in order to get the receiver hooked up, we're gonna go ahead and build the model, so that's gonna come at the very end, as will setting the CG, okay? And when I say setting the CG, we'll mark it, and then we'll test it with both packs, and then that'll tell us, like, are we gonna be nose heavy with this, and we gonna be, more neutral with that, or are we just gonna write it nose heavy on both, or how we're gonna do that? So make some decisions. I'd prefer, and this is just something you guys can always learn from guys like me and millions others that came before me. On a Maiden, I would rather be flying with perfect CG, but if I have to pick between tail heavy and nose heavy, I'm gonna pick nose heavy every day of the week, even on a sailplane, because some people will fly sailplanes in a tail heavy configuration intentionally, which is crazy. I don't personally do it because I don't fly that way for thermaling and things like this. But generally speaking, I wanna be nose heavy on a Maiden. I'm gonna prefer it nose heavy, and then I'll back it off a little if I need a little bit more elevator control. But my understanding is on this plane is that there's a little bit of a pitch sensitivity, and so you wanna err on the side of nose heavy at the beginning and then back it off from there. Okay, so the reason I know it's acro is because it's always that way. The other thing is there's a page that looks like this, and it shows you kind of the plug-in fly setup. And then there's another page that is later on. It looks like this, and it says computerized transmitter setup. And I used to fly with the DX18, and they've added all these different models in here. So it shows NX6 right there. Pretty sweet.
I think that's the first time we've seen that.
Yep, so this model does have full telemetry, which is super nice. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna go ahead and start the acro process by jumping into the menu structure. We'll show you exactly how to do this. Now, because this has Wi-Fi built in, you can actually download the program, but I'm not even gonna show you how to do that. You guys can figure it out if you wanna do that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start by just naming the model. I have to go to System Setup. That shuts off your RF, that's why that light disappears. Then I'm gonna scroll down to Model Name. If you change the model type at any time, it's gonna reset the whole model, okay? Model Name. So it's not gonna be Acro, obviously, that's the default name. So we're gonna go ahead and type in the name. So here we're gonna click, and then we can move the cursor. So once it's dark, you move the cursor, and that's how you get to the letter you want. So we're gonna do FW, and then we'll come right back when we're done, because you don't have to watch me scroll then. All right, so we've got the name typed in here, so we can just scroll out of there. You notice that beep, 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 beep. That's pretty normal. I've heard that a few times. It's probably a glitch, but who cares? Okay, so back to the same page. We're on page 4, just in case you're wondering. And if you guys need to like pause the video, you can just look at this. Okay, all right, we'll come right back. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna scroll in and just kind of look over the different things they're suggesting for aileron, elevator, and rudder. The dual rates are gonna be highs 100 and lows 70, and then servo travel to 100 and throttle cut to minus 100. So I'm gonna walk back out. That's the first thing I'm gonna do is throttle cut. That's a safety issue, so I always try to do that first so I don't forget. It goes to negative 100 by default. You can look down at your monitor that's on this screen. You can tell it's on and what condition it's on. So like with this switch back, it's on. And with this switch forward, it's off. But I wanna walk out of that so it doesn't change that configuration. Then I'm gonna walk over to menu by moving this once. You can see throttle's not moving. Now it is, okay? Throttle cut's on. Learn to use the throttle cut. It's one of the very few safety features that I preach about because it works. And it's totally your responsibility. Once this plane's up in the air, it is fully your baby. If something goes wrong, it's your fault. Even if it's not your fault, it's your fault. So here we go. Something to keep in mind, guys. When you're up in the air, you're 100% focused. That's why I like flying. No matter what's going on around you, there's no excuse. It's your plane, it's your baby, that's your focus. Okay, 3 minutes flight timer is recommended. I think that's recommended on a 5,000. So we'll go next, next. Okay, at 1 minute, we got a tone. 20 seconds, nope. I'm just gonna clear that, whoops. At 20 seconds, I don't want a warning. At 10 seconds, I want a countdown, so I'm gonna go voice. Expiration, I'm gonna do tone and vibrate. The vibration on this is weaker than my DX18 by, I would say, 50%. That's one of the very few factors that's worse about this transmitter than my DX18. A strong vibration function helps you to feel it. It's nice. Okay, then every minute we'll have a tone. Every minute, you're not gonna make it to too many tones on this plane because if you're only getting a 3-minute flight timer, you know, you're gonna be in pretty big trouble at that point. So then I'm gonna go next and just make sure I don't have anything there. Now you notice I got this goofy picture here. I wanna show you how to change that. If you go to System Setup, you can jump into the, I think it's under Model. Is it under Model Name? No. It's under Model, nope. Model Select, Aircraft Type, there it is. So we're gonna have to set this, the aircraft type is set 1 aileron, 1 flap, and then obviously the tail is normal. So we'll just click this and we'll go over to 1 aileron, 1 flap, and then we're gonna go next. And then you can click on that and change this image, which is pretty cool. That looks pretty close, doesn't it? I think that's supposed to technically be a P-51. There's a T-28. Ooh, that's kind of tough. That's pretty darn close.
Yeah.
Close enough. It might be a Spitfire. Yeah, that's a Spitfire. There you go. Pretty good to me. Okay, so then that's really helpful. Just a quick reference so you don't accidentally jump in, grab your transmitter, think you're set up, neglect to do your pre-trip, you know, pre-flight test of your control surfaces and then realize you're not actually controlling it. It's embarrassing. Okay, so the timer's on there. Throttle starts it with the 1 out. It keeps running. That's the way I want it on a prop plane like this. If it's a sailplane, I don't necessarily have a huge preference, but I usually do 1 out timers no matter what. Okay, so we can clear that. We're gonna click. What else do we need to do? Okay, so flaps, we have to set up flaps. We have to set up, are there any reverses?
I don't see any.
I don't either. Okay, so let's do flaps. So we'll just scroll in on the function list. Function list is accessible by clicking here. I'm gonna set it to switch B, that's where I like it. Okay, so the flaps are gonna be as such, -100, so click and then scroll all the way to the left. So that's -100 by default, no elevator correction at that. That's gonna be your like normal flight. Then we're gonna be +20 for takeoff flaps with a correction of, now I don't know why they stopped putting it on this page, but they show a correction here of 8% down elevator and 15% down elevator for elevator to flap mix. That needs to be here,
yeah.
Spectrum. I don't know why it's not here.
That'd
so
be easy to miss if you're not.
Yeah, if you're not paying attention. So, and it can, you know, it may not be super critical on this plane. Sometimes it's not a big difference on certain planes. Was it 12?
15.
8 and 15, okay? Okay. And then we're gonna set it to 2-second deployment speed. So now as I click, you can watch the elevator and the flap move at the same rate. So the execution of the change in state will be the same amount of time. Now keep in mind, that's less than 2 seconds, right? That's 2 seconds if you were to move from -100 all the way to +100. So it'd be from -100 to +100 is 200. We're only changing from 100 to 20, so that'd be 1.2 times 2. And then from there to there, you're only going 80, so it's even faster. So that's only 0.8 times 2 seconds, okay? All right, so walking out, everything's ready to rock and roll. Okay, so we should be ready to bind. So now let's look in the manual here for just a quick second. We can go ahead and power this off. Okay, so this is off. There is a binding selection here. This is the AR637T. Okay, beautiful receiver, full telemetry package. I just love using the AR637T. It's got a barometer in it. The TA does not have the barometer, okay? So what else do we have? I'm looking for, okay, using the bind plug. Okay, so you can use a bind plug, but you don't have to. There's also a button on there, and we can get to it real easy on this plane. So what we're gonna do is we're basically gonna safe disabled and safe and enabled. So we're gonna do this, and then after a bit, we'll go ahead and do our assignment on this page. So we'll actually show you this page real quick, and then you guys can just pause it if you don't have the manual and you're too lazy to go download it. By the way, you can follow my link in the description below to buy this plane, and then just scroll to the bottom of the page and you can get it there too. There's a full manual. And if there's changes, then you'll get the changes. Okay, so then let's show them this page too. This is the other half of the equation. This is where you actually make your assignment for safe select designation. See, designation. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that right now. It's a super easy process. Transmitter's off. Gear switch, I don't know which direction it is right now. I'm just gonna assume that gear are up in this condition. Many times on the more advanced models, the gear will not cycle until you flip the switch once, okay? On the newer ones. The old ones, they would just open when you plug the battery in. It's really unfortunate. We're on a plane stand. You wanna be thinking right now about where those things are gonna swing so that you don't run into anything. This plane stand is linked in our description below. Very good. Tom, one of our subscribers, actually got us this as a gift. He also got us those screwdrivers because he saw us struggling and he had pity on us. Thank you, Tom. Okay, so I guess for the sake of testing, we'll go ahead and use the Gen 2 5000 pack. This happens to be the 30C. We have this also in a 50C, and I believe you can get them in a 100C as well. I don't know that you're gonna need any of those higher C packs. Now, you'll notice that this prop is big and it could cut you. So you want to be a little bit err on the side of caution. But as you can see with all these guns and everything mounted, it's a little bit hard to get there. I always am reluctant to do my initial setup with the plane at an angle, because these things find home position when they're first set up, I believe, at the factory. So you don't have to necessarily worry about that, but I still worry about that. So the safer place to be would be to be over here. So I'm gonna stick this into the tray just loose, or if you prefer, you can pull the battery tray out like this. The whole thing comes out. These are the high quality straps, the ones that aren't gonna rip on you, which is super nice. Thank you, Horizon e-flite, for doing that. Look how nice it is without all those extra wires. This is one of the few occasions where I actually far prefer not having the extra wires from a Gen 1 smart pack or a non-smart pack. What?
There's a cat on the cat tree.
Oh, a cat in the cat tree?
Hey, did the people notice? Did anyone notice what's gone yet?
The Christmas tree?
Yes, you're welcome, YouTube.
Yes.
I took the tree down just for
Yeah,
you all.
everybody was complaining that our Christmas tree was still up. And it's only February, for God's sake.
It wasn't decorated. It
Yeah.
was just pretty.
It was just pretty.
Fine. You all ruined it for me. I took it down.
She took it down. So that's okay. We forgive you, YouTube. Hey, by the way, look at this line. That's right in a bad spot.
Wow,
Ooh,
what is that going to?
Man, that was a miss. It's going to an LED. I'm gonna unplug this right now and fix that. You see what I've done? I've pulled this.
No.
I'm sorry, my thumb was in the way, but there's not a whole lot I can do about it. I'm gonna tape that to the side right now. I can't believe, with the attention to detail on this model that we've seen to date, that was like that.
I'm going to show them from over here while you're getting taped.
Yep. I just grabbing a clear piece of tape, nothing fancy.
These wires were right
Just
up in
one
the
wire.
control
Yeah.
rod.
Here, we could tip it down while we're not binding.
Okay, well,
Okay. Sorry, these planes get a little bit challenging to film at this angle. Okay, so I'm just gonna basically find the point where the control arm is sticking out the most, and that's where I wanna tape this up, okay? And why do we care that that's taped up, camera crew?
because we don't want it to get caught in the control rod.
In the control, yep. Now, how do we know which way this plugs in?
It should be keyed.
No. Black,
line up the
black
line,
goes
matches
to
the wires.
brown, and then red goes to red. So if you put it backward, it's not gonna do anything. If you put it backward, it's not gonna do anything, but it also won't hurt it, okay? So now, you can see that it's a AR637 TA. Ooh, this is a TA, they said a T.
Oh.
They said a T in there, so this is the TA. So that one's probably gonna be locked out. That's okay, I think they were talking about in a bind and fly configuration, or excuse me, in a plug and fly configuration, that's what they'd recommend, okay? So we have the battery in there. We have not marked the CG yet. I'm sort of reluctant to do that at this point because we have a couple of steps to do, but let's go ahead and mark it. I'm sorry, guys. We're trying to do all this stuff at the same time, jumping around. You know what? We'll come back to that. We will.
Okay.
We'll come back to that. So we're trying to bind this. So what we do is we press and hold this while plugging in the battery. This is what the manual says. Throttle down. I have throttle cut also on, and my transmitter is off, okay? I'm in a position where if the prop were to start up, basically it's bound on something. So it would be harder for it to start, but that can also cause a fire. So just be aware of that, guys. Okay, so it's saying throttle stick down, plug in the power, then press this and hold it. Okay, then power this on whilst pressing the bind button.
Yes.
Whilst.
Whilst.
Okay, IC5 to IC5. Notice where my elbow is, camera crew? You see that? It'd be a bad day for me if this thing took off on me.
Good thing it's never happened.
Oh man, I'm having trouble getting it lined up. Get in there. The alignment on this one pin is kind of goofy. I'm gonna show the people what I have to do to make this better.
Okay.
I haven't had this problem before with an IC5. This is the part that's live. This is the part that's not live, okay? So you see that? I just have to kind of pull this over just a hair like that. See that one pedal? I move the one pedal that's closest to you, camera crew. Now watch how much easier this is. Get in there. Don't make me look stupid. There we go. Okay, that should make things align, okay? We have this thing as level as we can get reasonably. Now I'm going to make sure my body's in a safe spot. I'm gonna press and hold this. Now look what I'm doing over here. I'm gonna press the power button while holding the bind button. Oh, dang it. I held it too long. I'm gonna press the power button momentarily until I see it wake up. Then I'm gonna hold the bind. It says binding, DSMX 22 milliseconds telemetry, and it's giving us the AS3X dance twice. We're done. Okay, now auto config is happening on the screen. Auto config, it's done. Okay, so now first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna quickly and carefully test my throttle cut. I'm gonna get my body in a safe spot. My throttle cut is on and it is not responsive. Now I'm gonna shut off the throttle cut. That's powerful. Throttle cut is on and test it again. Wow, those lights are bright and beautiful. Awesome. We are in safe because we have a tie with the aileron to rudder. And the elevator is not moving because the elevator is not set up yet. We're gonna do that right now. Now that we have everything else set up, we're in safe. So there could actually be some elevator deflection at this point. So what we have to do is we have to do our safe assignment, okay? So safe switch assignment. Let's put the landing gear down, okay? So that's landing gear up, and that's landing gear down. Oh, gorgeous and tall.
Those are tall.
Good lordy lord.
Wow.
And then look at this. Oh man, that is gorgeous. Look at the oleo from that side there. Do you see that?
Oh, wow.
That is so beautiful. Loving the way that looks.
Really cool.
Super, super scale.
Yeah.
Okay, going back up. Just absolutely gorgeous. Okay, check this out. Click, servo setup, travel, reverse, gear. I want my gear to be up here and down here. Okay, that's just a function of my normal setup for my planes. You don't have to do it that way. That's the way I do it. So now we need to make our safe select assignment before we can even do our CG test. The other thing too is I don't remember reading if we want gear up or down for CG testing. But here's the thing. If you're not told what to do, think about what do I need to do to land the plane safely? Are you landing with the landing gear up?
Hopefully not.
Exactly. So if you're not told to do it with the landing gear down. That's what I think. However, there's not going to be a huge difference in CG because these things come out and they're pretty much in line. It's not going to make a huge difference. Sometimes you have a nose gear that comes out and deploys forward and tail wheels that deploy back or vice versa, and that can make a big impact. Like on the F-16, they come out from this, and that really pulls a lot of the weight to the back. So, all right, so the next step is we need to do our assignment for safe. We've confirmed and we have a reasonable level of security that the throttle is not going to kick on us. So now we need to go to this page and we need to do a safe selection. And I'm going to scroll over one menu or to the monitor. And I'm just going to see if this is assigned to anything. It's not currently. This is not also. Flaps. Oh, let's show the people the flaps. Underneath here. Okay, you ready? Mm-hmm. Here goes the flaps. Take off flaps. Landing flaps, gorgeous. Okay, so now look what's going on here on the screen. See how the flaps move and then auxiliary 2 changes? Okay, so that's definitely not good because we want to separate this channel from that channel, okay? Because we need all the channels. We need every channel to do something independently. That's why we need 7 channels.
That's why we're using an
NX6. That's a 6-channel transmitter. 6-channel. Okay, so we're gonna click and scroll down to system setup. Be prepared in case something changes here. Okay, all right, so we're good and safe. Fail safe obviously did not start the prop. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down to channel assign. And we're gonna go to this and you see how it says flaps and it says gear and it says rudder. And I'm gonna go next. See how it says aux 2 is set to B, that's B. I'm just gonna click B and I'm gonna change it to D, okay? Now I'm gonna walk out. I'm not gonna mess with anything else. Smart battery alarm. In balance, okay? You can clear that warning, by the way. See if I scroll all the way over? See that? It shows all the different cells. That is so cool. So you have all the different cells here individually.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really nice. Okay, so now I need to go to, I was trying to do my assignment, so I'm just gonna walk out. I'll go over to monitor. So now auxiliary 2 is independent of flaps, okay? Cool, right? So now this is how we're gonna set up safe select to designate via switch D. You guys might use switch D if you're flaps, go for it. If you wanna use switch B for safe select, whatever. Okay, so sticks in and down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did you hear the noise? Okay, good. So now, safe is currently on or off. I haven't established. I believe safe is on now. Here's how you can tell. Pick up the plane. Upside down, you can see the aileron is sticking. Finding the quickest path to level. Safe is currently on. Safe is off. Okay? So now, the next thing we need to do is we need to reverse that because I want to show you the condition of the switch. The condition of the switch is down for safe to be off. I want the natural condition to be safe off. So all you have to do is go into the servo setup, travel, go to reverse, and then find your auxiliary 2 and flip it. Okay, so now let's test. So safe should be off, and it is. Now safe is on, and it's trying to find a level. Okay, let's give them a close-up of these flaps real quick while we're upside down. Gorgeous. I love the way they look. How's it look from the back side?
That's cool. Yeah.
You got a detail on there?
No, it's just plain. It's just like the same color, but it looks cool.
Still pretty.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing is it's executed well. It doesn't have to be anything too fancy. It just needs to do a good job of it.
See it better from the top because the top of the wing is the darker green
Oh,
color,
yeah.
and then the flap is that lighter green.
Okay, so now we're out of safe. So that means only AS3X is active, which means we can go ahead and get our elevator stuck here. So we want this to be straight. So now we can actually tip the plane so it's easy to see and show the people here. You see this? See how that's kind of lined up? The two-tone helps. Okay, hold right there, camera crew. So this needs to go up just a hair, and then that's level, okay? So you see how this isn't lined up? See how that's not lined up? You're gonna have to come right to the hinge point, right there. Okay, so you see how that's not lined up? And it needs to kind of, if I were to stick that in there, look how much that would be. A big difference. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna just trust you to try your best on that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna screw this in a couple of turns. There's 3 turns, that's gotta be close. Close.
Close.
And then one more. A little bit past so that it's square. We'll show you that here in a second. Oh, that's pretty good right there.
Pretty good.
Okay, so now let's show them from the tail end. Oh, there we go. I have to grab needle nose pliers for this last step. So the needle nose pliers are optional for this. But you see what's going on here with this, how it's not square? I want that to be square from this axis, right? Are you good?
Okay.
So I just need to hold that tight so I can straighten this. See how it's straight now? Okay, good. Now, if you have trouble popping these on, you can use a special type of needle nose plier that has a ball joint. It's called a ball joint plier, I believe. I hate doing that because it always wants to like stab your finger. Oh, dang it. Come look at this. I thought we decided that this was pretty well perfect.
It was.
Here, just wait. See how it's going up a little bit?
I wonder if it moved back a little bit when you straightened it.
I don't know. That's probably about as close as you're going to get. Let's see what one click of trim does because you don't want to use the electronics to trim the mechanical trim to center. Okay, so the elevator's here. Okay, just so you guys can see, that was 86 86 clicks of trim. Okay, 86. And look how much change that made. That's a pretty small change. You see that? How hyper specific that is? Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and run my trim to the center. And I'm gonna get that last little bit. That's why you have to mechanically trim these properly. Otherwise you'll have issues once you get in the air. Now there are some planes that they'll tell you this needs to be 2 millimeters at the tip of the wing or the televon. I'm thinking specifically to the F-18 and the SU-30 as two examples of that. Okay. Okay, so now I'm just gonna hold this and I need to, it was pushed up slightly, so I need to go in half a turn. That's the next step I can do. And that's true, you can only go half at a time. You can't go 1/4 step because then it won't slide on there, okay? Does that make sense to you? Yeah, gotta go a little bit more. Nope, one more. Gosh, that was like a major screw up on our part. Why was I so far off though? That's weird. That's pretty dang good. I might even be able to go 1/2 again. There is a limit. If you screw this in too much, that thing will actually pop through the circle, okay? That's not good. Yep, now we're pretty much square on dead nuts. So I am going to use this position. It's just extremely difficult to get this thing square, perfectly square, but I'm also being extremely nitpicky here. You don't really have to be as nitpicky as I am about like most stuff, but on this one, I just really want it right. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Let's show the people at home. Give them a nice focused shot down the length of that. Does it look good to you?
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay, now let's move the elevator so they can see the throw. Okay, that's all the way up. Jeez, that's all the way down.
Oh,
that's
it's not
not
an
very
elevator.
much. Jeez. Now look at this. Look at that bend. See how it's straight on the pull and it bends on the push? I've seen that before, and that's usually, that can cause some level of indisparity on elevator control. I'm really surprised to see that at a Horizon model. That being said, they use big and properly sized servos. That's one of the reasons why you'll find that these e-flite planes fly so much better than some of the competitive brands, because they don't cheap out on the wrong size servos. And I'm not trying to beat up the other brands of servos. I'm just saying they, in fact, use too small a servo to save on weight and cost, and then you have a deficit in controllability. It's just like, if you can't control the plane, what's the point of having it? You know, if you have to fiddle with it endlessly to make it work well. So that being said, high quality components lead to high quality flight performance. So now we need to get the CG worked out. My battery is basically, I would say, right in the middle of the tray, and the tray is locked in position. So let's just call it perfectly centered. And let's go ahead and put this on. This is a 5000 30C Gen 2. Okay, make sure this clicks, guys. You see that? See how it's not all the way forward? Now it's forward. First couple of flights, you gotta be careful about that. You do not wanna lose a beautiful canopy like this. I would imagine it's not cheap to replace. That drop tank is a pain. It's like,
Right.
every time I go to pick this plane up, because look what's right here.
Yeah,
Wheel
you
well.
got-
So you have a weak point on the wing right there. So you want to naturally go under to undergird the weight of the plane. So I'm actually going to take it off the plane stand at this point, and we're just going to put it on its beautiful wheels. Man, that is gorgeous, isn't it? This is the first time I'm setting my eyes on it. Wow, those LEDs are bright too.
They are.
Ailerons, rudder and steerable, just rock solid looking. Man, those lights are bright. I love it. Flaps, takeoff, landing. That is so cool. They look subdued. You know, They don't stick down at 90 degrees like on some competitive brands, which looks really ugly, by the way. That being said, beautiful plane. Love the way it looks. Okay, so now CG marking, pretty easy process. Doesn't really necessarily have any sort of relevance in the radio setup, but we're 105 millimeters back from the inner gun mount on the leading edge of the aircraft inverted. Ooh. Okay, with gear down? It doesn't say, does it? Maybe it does back here. Usually toward the tail end of the English part or whatever. Another reason why you like dealing with Horizon. You have a parts list and you can actually order them once in a while.
There's your...
Okay, so this says the CG location is measured back from the inner gun mount on the leading edge of the aircraft upside down. The CG location has been determined with the recommended battery, the 5000 6S30C, installed all the way forward in the battery tray. The battery will overhang the front of the battery tray and be near the back face of the firewall. That's handy. Okay. Install the battery, but do not arm the ESC while checking the CG personal injury may result. Okay. So we want to be 105 to 120 millimeters back from the inner gun. Okay. Inverted. So I want to mark the top of the wing. Okay, I got just a regular Sharpie, run-of-the-mill Sharpie. If you really want to get fancy, you can do something more nice, like push pins and things like this, or something that people have been recommending a lot. Jeez, that's so far back. Oh my goodness.
Oh no, are we even gonna...
Do I even have enough length?
Oh no. 105.
105, oh, 105 to 120. So 105, so 10.5 centimeters. This is a nice definitive measurement point, finally.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a little detent, a bump. That's some hard foam. Man, feel those, camera crew.
Oh, where the bumps
Feel
are?
that. That's so cool.
That is really
Those
cool.
little rivet bumps, and they
Yeah.
just seamlessly blend
Even
in.
on the...
It's like, I mean, why are they putting Braille on these planes?
More jokes about your mother.
Yes, exactly. What, the Braille?
Yeah.
Here we go.
It's like right on the panel line.
Yeah, it's on the panel line. Okay, so the front edge of the CG and the back edge of the CG. Okay, now that is a little bit big and obnoxious, but let's just be honest, guys, it's an important thing. I am willing to have a big ugly mark so that I can find it, because it's an important thing. Okay, so I'm at 120 millimeters here, and technically it should be square, but we're so dang close. We're so dang close. That actually really should be back just a hair more. See, the problem is the gun mount. Are we talking about at the foam? I didn't even think about that, but I was kind of coming off of that edge. Eesh, that's a pretty big difference. Well, let's mark it again. There'll be 3 dots on that side. So here's the back edge. I guess we're gonna mark this side again too. Folks, do you see what I did wrong? I was coming off of this, and really I think it's off of that. It's not a huge difference, but I'm just gonna put a 3rd mark. So really what's gonna happen is my CG range is gonna be it's gonna be about an extra 3 millimeters of range that I have to concern myself with. Now I'm gonna go back to 105. Here's 105. From the edge of the foam now. Now I'm just gonna actually take that same 105 and I'm gonna go to the edge of the, you see the difference there? So it's right here. So there's my marks. I have an extra dot, okay? The extra dot, I don't know which one. It's okay, it's close enough. I doubt we're gonna have a big difference, but if I'm on the edge and I find that it flies really good, then I'll have some feedback then.
Do you need to slide your battery forward? Because it was saying almost to the back of the firewall.
I mean,
Or do you wanna test
I
it
hear what
first?
you're saying, but I'm just gonna test it first. And then if we have any issues, then we can go. My guess is it's probably gonna be needing to move back anyway, or move forward rather. So I'm gonna just find kind of the middle between these 3 dots and give it a test. Here's the forward holes, and now that's tail heavy. And when I go to the back holes, which are like way back there, that's a long ways back there, it's way nose heavy. So I would say if we're nose heavy on one and tail heavy on the other, we gotta be within
Pretty
range,
close, right.
you know? So I would say, let's go ahead and just ride it where it is for now. I'm fine with that. So 5,000 to 7,000, we've been doing another thing too when we get a new plane, because we have so many of them anymore, it's hard to remember.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm gonna do. 5,000 6S to 7,000 6S, okay? So those are the sizes that are recommended. Now, I think Jason Merkin was mentioning that you could do as low as 3,200, but that'd be a real short flight time. So I know on my F-18, I actually ran that on a small pack, a 4,000 and a 3,200. And the only reason I preferred the 4,000 is because I had, I think, a 50C pack at the time. So I'm really liking the way that this thing went together. Let's see how it looks and force a hard restart. There is a pocket back here that's kind of nice where you can drop this ferrite core down. See this? The ferrite core can go right there in that pocket, which is nice. Okay, so let's pull this out. Let's see if we have any issues with getting the 7,000 in here. Boy, there's a ferrite core around those servo cables too. Okay, so we can charge this one at our convenience.
Okay.
So this plane was like way painless to put together.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we had any problems.
If only.
If only they were all that way. I mean, we've had Horizon planes that have issues, but it's very few and far between.
And it's not big issues.
It's like-
just little stuff.
I had one with a bad servo. That was a long time ago. And we've done a lot of Horizon planes.
Yeah.
That was one.
Yep.
Okay, see that? Centered in the tray. I'm gonna try it vertical first.
That's a big battery.
Yes, it is. That might need to go the other way. I'm not sure yet, but I'm just gonna try this. One of the best reasons why these battery trays are so nice, look how much easier it is to just manipulate this, get it where you need.
Yep.
And then at some point I can mark. Now I'm just kind of basically centering that thing in there, okay?
Not trying to fiddle with it while it's in there and.
Plus you can hang on to the battery too then.
Yep.
Look how easy this is to slide in. Oh yeah, that's gonna work great. Oh man.
You got tons of room.
Tons of room. Okay, so this is Gen 1 battery, incidentally. Throttle cut is on, throttle stick is down.
I actually don't think it would go flat.
That was easier. We got those,
Yeah.
we got those pedals aligned now. Okay, it's initiating. All right, guys, there you have it.
Those lights are super bright.
All right, throttle cut's on. Let's go ahead and cycle the landing gear here. I want to cycle the landing. Well, let's test CG first.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to go to approximately the middle. Oh, yeah. Even at the front hole, it's still leaning forward with that 7,000. So that's going to be quite nose heavy. So I would say with the 7,000, we might need to ride that back a little bit yet if we're trying to accomplish the CG that's recommended. So I'm going to try to pull this back so it's right up on top of the kind of the finger hole that's used to relieve the, pull the tray out. Oh yeah, no issues at all with the canopy. I was afraid about that immediately. Okay, about the center point. At the front, I would say we're just barely nose heavy. At the front hole position, we're just a little teeny bit nose heavy. I'm happy with that. I don't want to even be close to anywhere being tail heavy on this plane. I just think it's going to fly better. If we are nose heavy, then it's going to fly worse if we're tail heavy. So I feel like we have a better chance at success. Now let's talk about dual rates and expo here for a quick second. So I know you guys were asking like every time I do a video about dual rates and expo. So let's just show the people at home. I'm gonna go ahead and look at the angle on those landing gear.
I know.
It's so real, guys. And look at that, that is just gorgeous. It looks like a mechanical issue, but if you look at the real plane, that's exactly the way it is. Okay, so let's look at this. So dual rates and expo. Or hold on, I want to show you this first. Look at that, so cool, G-force. This is all live too. So if I pick up the plane and I wiggle it, see it move? That's so cool. See the flight mode? So cool, that's safe. That's AS3X only. AS3X settings. And that's all through the discharge lead, guys. The imbalance, that's pretty cool. So what's nice about this is when you start running this thing, you will have a flight timer, but then you can also depend on having alarms that you can then set. So if you click and you scroll down here to telemetry, you can go into telemetry and you can auto config if it's already auto config though. And then you can go into your smart battery. Actually, I want to go to, it's under telemetry, settings. Whoops. Where's my warnings? Audio events, there it is. Telemetry warnings, click, and then you can go into the smart battery. Now it's talking to the airplane. Whoops, smart battery. There you go. There's your tone. I can put that to voice. What? Where's voice? I guess it's tone. Amazing. It's so cool the stuff you can do now with this stuff. All right, so getting back to dual rates and expo. So ailerons, I'm gonna set the switch to switch F. In the lowest setting, I'm gonna set this to expo of, let's just start with 10. Then let's go to the second setting and let's set that to like 20. And then let's set the top one to like 30. And then let's drop the rate down to 90, okay? So this is where I'm gonna start, in the middle. That's gonna give me 20% expo, but we're at 100% rates, okay? Now I'm gonna scroll over to elevator and I'm gonna basically set that to the exact same switch, switch F. In the top setting in this case, I'll just go straight up to 30 and I'll drop the rate down to 90. Actually on this, I'm gonna set this to like 45 and then I'm gonna set the rate down to like 80. And then I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna set that to like 25, and then I'm gonna set that to 10, okay? So this is where I'm gonna start. I'd rather have less than I need, and I can always flip back up to this. But I can also flip down to that and really deaden the elevator if it's giving me a lot of porpoising, okay? And then the rudder, we're gonna turn that back to switch F. On the top setting, we'll set this to like 30. We'll set that down to like 90. We'll go to the middle setting, the setting we expect to use, we'll just run it to 20. And then on the first setting, we'll set it to like 10, okay? So this is where we're gonna attempt to fly first. So the whole rationale behind that, guys, is when you're flying, you take off, you wanna get up in the air, do your thing, kind of get a feel for it. On your first landing, you're gonna know like, hey, I need more or I need less. Like it's way too touchy. If it's way too touchy, you can bring it down here, and it's a little bit extreme on this one because I already know there's, you know, some propensity there. So I wanna make sure I have a little bit extra on the elevator. Then if I'm like, I don't have enough elevator to get this done, remember when you slow this plane down, the elevator is gonna be less effective, okay? That's just the nature of the beast. You have less airflow going across it. You can always give it throttle and it's gonna blow more air across the control surface, but your speed, you know, your speed makes more air, which means you impact that pitch control more so. So when you're flying at high speed, you might wanna click it down here and go to your high rates, or excuse me, to your lowest, most deadened controls. And then when you're ready to land, you might want to be in your most, touchy so that you get that extra elevator. The other thing you can do is you can actually mix into your flaps so that your flaps control an extra mix on your expo too, which would be nice. Because then when you have your full flap deflection, then you can make your elevator is 100% to elevator is 110. So you would actually have extra output. So that's another thing you can do. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying if you have problems, that'd be one place to start. Now that being said, I just want to talk about this for a second. If you haven't already used one of our links, we'd appreciate you trying it sometime. If you're going to buy a plane, check the link in the description. You'll really help support our channel. We know that you guys have been coming back. We're really fortunate to have such a great audience, and a lot of you are buying from our links. We know that, and we really appreciate you. It helps us to kind of build our relationships with the different vendors that send us planes for reviews, and it also gives us a little bit of a financial boost too, which helps to keep our channel running. So we really appreciate you guys doing that. If you're interested in buying this, even remotely, check the link, see if you're interested. If you're, maybe there's another plane that's a little bit easier for you if you're a beginner. Definitely, we have literally thousands of videos. We have playlists for every plane. Some of them just have one video. Some of them have 55 videos. It just depends on the plane. It depends on where we were in our progression through the RC hobby. Nowadays, we have 1 or 2 videos, maybe a second thoughts video that comes out on a plane like this, or we'll do a comparison between this and the P-51 or something like that when we get better weather here coming up in spring. But for now, this thing is gorgeous. I can't wait to fly it. By the way, this thing feels really good. It feels like a big 1.2 meter. I almost felt like with the 1.5 meter P-51, it felt a little bit heavier to me, which is weird because this is not a light plane, but it feels like it's maybe a little bit lower wing loading. I could be totally wrong on that, but that's just from like lifting it up. So it looks absolutely gorgeous. It has so much stuff right about it. And that was one of the easiest builds we've had in a long time. This was easier than the last Horizon plane we did, and I'm not 100% sure which one's gonna come out first, so I'm not gonna talk about it. But I can tell you this, if you guys have seen the flight and you thought it was even halfway good, remember it's just me flying. You might be a lot better pilot than me. You might have better circumstances from which you're flying. You might have a wider runway. You might have better conditions. And let's just talk about that for 2 seconds. Let's just say, for instance, you live in a northern climate and you've had nothing but snow, and then some more snow on top of the snow.
Yep.
And your yard looks a little something like this. And you've had nothing but blizzards. And this is basically the way it looks. I've pushed back the piles as far as I can with our new tractor. And yeah, it's cold out there, isn't it,
I don't think we're supposed to be above single digits for highs for a week.
Yeah, we have a polar vortex coming in.
So the camera crew is going to have to be bribed heavily.
Yeah, to film in this.
To film this.
And by the way, the other tip that I keep getting questions about this, when we fly in the cold, I've been wearing these nitrate gloves. I just reuse them because they're super heavy duty and they work super nice. These are just really a godsend because if you have leather gloves or the sort, when you put those leather gloves on, you're gonna lose a lot more dexterity. And if you find that these things, they just take the edge off because, it's just one layer between you and reality, but it's enough to impact change. And you'll find that over the course of a couple of flights, your hands might actually get a little bit warm. So if you're in a real cold climate, you can double these up too. It's a little bit hard to get them on at first. And sometimes if you use a little talc powder, you can actually put 2 on or 3. And as long as you get a size up, then you can maintain a lot of your dexterity. And really for us flying with thumbs, we're plenty good. The pincer grippers might have a little bit more trouble with this, but they're gonna have more trouble with leather gloves too. But just thinking about cold flying weather, this stuff is a godsend. They're not overly expensive. If you buy the good ones, that's what you kind of need to get. The mechanic gloves are the best ones. So these are nitrate gloves. We'll find a link or something at some point. But these things have been really nice. We end up using these at work and we stopped using the black ones because we went to a different color. We couldn't get the hand wash stations to work when we had these things on. Oh. And that's why we ended up having a few extra of these. But these have been great. The blue ones work good too. We use blue ones at work. And there's nothing really magical about the color. It just happens to be what we had. So guys, come back for more. We got so much stuff going on. We got piles, huge piles to review. And we know you're gonna come back for more. Best audience on YouTube. Thanks for watching.